Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren Van Hamert from Beltline to Broadway, and I am here with the uberly talented Tamara Jade, who I'm just a little bit. I was doing all this research this morning, and now I'm total fangirl. So
Oh,
welcome.
thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Tamara is playing Effie White in the North Carolina theater production of Dreamgirls, which I'm so excited to see.
Yes.
Um, but before we get into that, I want to start when you're 6 years old because I read that when you were six, you got bit by the bug.
I
Do
did.
you remember that moment when you're performing at six going, oh, I can sing? And I,
Well, I do remember the moment. I was 6, and my parents loved telling this story. My mom, especially. My mom was the music director at my church growing up. And so I was singing a solo, and we had been practicing for a long time at home, and she'd been coaching me, and I was ready. And I did the performance, I sang the song. And I remember seeing people cry while I was singing. And when I, got off stage and we were in the car talking about it, they're like, so how did you feel? And I'm like, I thought I did good, but people were crying, and I don't understand why. And my dad says, well, sweetheart, people were touched. And I'm like, I don't know why, because I didn't touch them. So that was when I got bit by the bug, when they later explained to me what that meant. But understanding that I could affect people and move people with this gift that God had given me was what really drew me in and made me want to keep doing it for the rest of my life.
I am. I read in my research that you were a fan of Fantasia, as I was
Yeah.
also. And you said that the way she made people feel when she was singing is kind of what you were aspiring to. So is that kind of what you were feeling when you were so you're six, you're seeing these people cry, now you're older and you hear Fantasia sing and you feel that swell of emotion. Is it kind of the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, just the idea of with any singer that moves us, whether it be back Aretha Franklin or more current people, Beyonce, her, any of these people, Fantasia, Jennifer Hudson, just the idea that people could be moved to emotion, whether it be happiness or reflection that may move you to tears, or music that makes you angry, whatever it is. I really just appreciate that the effect that music and singing can have on people's emotions.
Absolutely. Well, it's storytelling, right? It's
Absolutely.
storytelling through song. And that's what I think is so powerful about musical theater is that it
Right.
marries the story and song in such a beautiful way. And I love this because like so many of us, you fell in love with musical theater by listening to cast albums in the beauty salon.
Something like that. So, when I was young, getting my hair done by my mother was just a very difficult process, which for a lot of young Black girls, it's painful and it's complicated. And sometimes moms they're just trying to groom you, so it's like sit still, and. And so she realized that process was getting a little too tumultuous. So she asked one of the young ladies at church, who was a teenager at the time when I was a little girl, to braid my hair. And she would braid my hair, and she would put on movies while she was braiding my hair, like any little kid, to distract them. And so, because it was a long process, it's hours and hours of you sitting there getting your hair braided. And she would put on musicals. She would put on The Wiz. She would put on Annie. Any of those from back in the day. Trying to think anything else. Nothing else. Sister Act. I watched this. Oh my gosh, we were both Sister Act 1 and 2 out. And those really drew me in, and the idea that like people could sing on TV. Well, that was like, wait, I can sing on TV too, like, So that's kind of how I got bit by the musical theater bug, and just the marriage between the two of singing and acting drew me in as a kid.
I love that so much. You know, Sister Act 3 is coming out. Just saying. Whoopee,
Oh,
if you're watching.
yeah, that would be great. I would love that.
um, you're a contestant on The Voice, which is how so many fans came to fall in love with you. And you have the opportunity to be coached by a legend, and what was that experience like for you?
It was amazing. Honestly, I believe that I manifested that experience because I went to see his concert in 2011. I'm sorry, 2017, excuse me. I was honestly just going to support my friend who was one of his background singers. So it's like, when you're living in New York, you support each other when you can. You want to see your friends at the show and everything. And at that time, I had just moved there. I was so broke. I sat in the second to last row in Madison Square Garden, all the way at the top. That's all I could afford. And that show changed my life. I never thought that I could see myself on the stage in Madison Square Garden doing music that I would want to do. And people be just moved by it. And I remember the end of the concert, he did All of Me, just sat at the piano and sang All of Me. And hearing everybody in unison singing this song and being on the same page about love and just that atmosphere was like, I need to know this man. I need this man to teach me how to do this at this level. And so um my friend at that point told me who the creative director was and who helped put the show together, because the show itself was just magical. And I started following his social media, and 2 years later I auditioned. The creative director posted this very vague post about needing plus size women who could sing and dance for possible TV and touring in New York City. That's all it said. And that actually was for Lizzo for the 2019 VMAs. I booked the gig, did that with him, and then him and I had been in contact ever since. Well, John Legend's creative director, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm one step closer. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So then The Voice happened, and I was like, yep, we here. I'm here. I need this man. And we hit it off. Like I knew we would. There's some people that even as a kid or just watching from afar, I believed I was supposed to have a working relationship with. And he was one of them. I was like, when he meets me, he's going to love me. And he did. And that process was really fun. And he was just very encouraging, mostly of me to be myself. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of times we feel like we have to change things about ourselves to be accepted or to be appreciated. So he really doubled down on me just being me, like me just being Tam, and bringing that to every performance, bringing that to every interview or every whatever. And now, post that, he is still a mentor, he's still a friend. We still talk regularly. I just talked to him last month. We're gonna hang out when I get back to LA. Just that him and Chrissy just had another baby. So yeah, it was a great experience. And all of the coaches honestly were awesome. They all gave me really good feedback. I look forward to working with Kelly Clarkson. I would love to be on her talk show if I could. She's amazing too, and she was really kind to me as well. So yeah.
I love this so much, and I love this idea. Well, Lizzo,
Mhm.
she is someone I admire so much because she's just unapologetically her. She's comfortable. I'm a big girl. She's
Mhm.
comfortable in her own skin. She's comfortable in her own body. Um, and I love that. And so for me, she is kind of this beacon of representation. When I'm having a bad day, I'm like, listen, Lizzo can do this. I can do this.
Mhm.
Um, I I feel like the idea of representation is so important, and you are now at this level on The Voice where little black girls are looking to you as their representation. Is that something you're thinking about carrying with you when you are performing, especially on a platform as big as The Voice?
Yes, definitely. And it's a double-edged sword because it can put a pressure on you. And I definitely experienced that sense of pressure, especially towards the end. And I had to give myself permission to say, you know what? I'm just being myself. And I hope that it's inspiring to somebody, but I can't put the pressure on myself to represent an entire race, or even an entire sector of people. And so I appreciate that people can see themselves in me. That is important. And it's important that they leave encouraged when they see me, that they leave inspired by me. Definitely on The Voice, the thing that I zeroed in on the most with representation was my hair. So what a lot of people don't know that was special about our season was because we were in the middle of the pandemic. This was 2020. We had to do our own hair and makeup. So I did my own hair for the entire season of television. And I was very intentional about choosing styles that were elegant but still powerful and edgy. And that was one of the things I got the most feedback from Black women about, just feeling like you looked so beautiful, and it made me feel beautiful, and it made me feel like there was room for my hair, for my, skin color, for my body, all of those things, with you being so comfortable in your skin. So I think about representation a lot, and it matters. I actually moved to New York because I saw The Color Purple on Broadway. It was Danielle Brooks, Cynthia Erivo, and Jennifer Hudson. And most people say that I have an uncanny resemblance to Danielle Brooks. And so it really felt like, you know what? I remember sitting in the audience, and I remember saying, my mom said, "You can do that. You can sing like them." And I said, "You know what, Mom, I can." And I moved to New York 6 months later. So representation really does matter, and seeing yourself places, or at least seeing room for you, really does
Mhm.
matter.
I love that. And to have I it's so important um not just to have the artists on stage, but making room at the table in all aspects of the performance industry so that we see that representation in an authentic way. Um, the other thing I think about when I think of representation is access. And I always ask this in these North Carolina theater interviews because they have this beautiful conservatory where they train kids, including my son. My son was there as a student for a short time.
Oh, nice.
um, I'm such an advocate for arts and education. I know you, or I think I read that you went to a performing arts program when you were in school. So, why is art in school so important? Because with funding, it's just being cut all over the place.
Yeah, so I went to performing arts program for high school, and I also went to conservatory for college. So I spent about 11 years in the academic side of music. I think for me, the biggest things were for high school was finding my tribe. I wasn't just the girl who could sing anymore. I was around my people, and I didn't feel weird anymore, you know? I didn't enjoy the same things that a lot of my colleagues did before then in middle school. And I just wasn't into, I was into music. I was into concert performing artists. I could sit around and listen to music and talk about it all. I wanted to sing with my friends. And that's not something that I really could do at that time. But then when I went to high school, I met my people. And I mean, you couldn't shut us up. We were singing 24/7 all day, every day. And to this day, my best friend, we met when we were 8 and 9 in a community choir, and we are still best friends. We both live in LA now. We pretty much don't go more than a few days without talking to each other. So I think finding your tribe is one of the things that really has been helpful for me, having a musical education. And then in college, I would say the technical training. I mean, you don't have to go to school for music, but I do think that whatever you do, whatever career path you choose, you should be educated in it, and you should desire to know as much as you can about it. So for me, understanding how my instrument works, understanding how my body works. I was just filming today for my social media all the things that I'm doing to keep my voice limber and agile for the week coming ahead, for the show. And I got my humidifiers going in the background, my air purifiers over there. I got my lemon water. I got my steamer, all the things, but understanding why those things are important to your body and how to take care of it to do what it is that you want to do. So I think arts education is very important, and anytime you can have access to it. That's why I love doing things like this, especially with houses like North Carolina Theater, because having access to stuff like this, everybody's not going to be able to get to New York, and everybody deserves to have Broadway style, Broadway level, Broadway caliber performances accessible to them. So this is right in your backyard, Raleigh. Please come. It is affordable, it is accessible. I would love to see you, hug you, shake your hand after the show. Bring your kids. I think it's important for young kids to see things like this and be able to see opportunities that are available for them when they grow up outside of the normal things. You know, you see police officers and firefighters and teachers and whatever working professional things your parents do. But a lot of times, artists, we don't get to see how they have a career. We just see, a performance here or a TV show there. We don't really know what goes into it. So the fact that we're here, we're accessible, you can watch interviews like this, you can find us on social media now and talk to us. Like, that's a beautiful thing that I really love about this process.
Support local theater. I love that. um, Effie in Dreamgirls to me is such an iconic role that has been played by so many amazing, talented women, including Jennifer Hudson. I think you should be on her talk show and sing with her. Just
Yeah.
putting it out there. Talk to
I
me.
would love that. Yes,
Hey, Jay Hunt. Like, talk to me
yes, J
about
Hud, Kelly Clarkson, both back to back.
yes. Talk to me about stepping into this role and standing on the shoulders of really these amazing artists who came before you in creating Effie.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many iconic performances of this role, starting with Jennifer Holliday, who originated it, Jennifer Hudson, Lillias White, Amber Riley, my a good friend of mine, Angela Burchett. These are all women who really just embodied this role. So it is very intimidating to go into, but I had to first give myself permission to let Tamara make some decisions and not feel pressured to do what they do, or what they did. This is different, right? Because this isn't a movie set. I got to do this over and over and over again every night. So that also involves, and that goes back to arts education, music education, right? That has to involve me being very intentional about the choices that I'm making. Um, I don't really I don't really do too much talking. This is a press day, so if I wasn't talking to you, I would be for the whole day. Those are the things that I have to do. But there is definitely, we have some really iconic shoulders that I'm standing on, and I'm very blessed to be able to just kind of walk in their path, but not feel the pressure to be who they were or to give the same interpretation because we've seen it before. So I appreciate the opportunity to make it what to show the relationship that I've developed with Effie White.
I love that. So I want to talk about that relationship because what has Effie, now that you've lived with her a couple weeks, you're going to open next week. What has Effie taught you about yourself as a performer, as a Black woman in this industry?
Effie has taught me to trust my gut. Um, I am very similar to her in a lot of ways. I just finished 2 years of singing background for different artists, whether all the people you named, John Batiste, uh, Madonna, John Legend, PJ Morton, Tori Kelly, all the things, Young Gravy. That was a very random gig, but I did it. And so, but her gut told her always that you are a star, you know, and that you have things to say and that you have a story to tell too. And it is just as valuable and important as everybody else around you. And by the end of the story, without giving it away for people who haven't seen it, she has that moment of redemption where everybody's like, you know what? You are right. And so she's really taught me to trust my gut, trust my instincts, and to advocate for myself. And even when people don't listen, be okay within yourself with what you know is right.
I love that so much. Life lessons. My
Yeah.
friend and I always talk about life lessons from musical theater. So
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Um, if you could go back and give 6-year-old Tamara a piece of advice, what would it be?
So much, but if I had to pick one thing, honestly, it'd just be like everything is gonna work out. you're gonna have lots of twists and turns, lots of detours, lots of unsurety. But if that's the word, but it's gonna work out. Follow the path, follow your heart, and everything will fall into place.
Oh, I love that so much. All right,
Yay!
so we're gonna plug North Carolina theater production of Dreamgirls opens next week at the Duke Energy Center for the Performing Arts. You can see Tamara live on stage. It's such an amazing cast. So I'm so excited to see all the dreams. um, you can get tickets or find out more about tickets at nctheater.com. Tamara, this was a pleasure, and I will be following you.
Hey, please come see me after the show. Come say hello so I can meet you in person.
I would love that. I
Yeah,
would love that. And everybody go see the show. Go see the
come see
show.
us.